Aviation's progress is measured by its safety record, a testament to decades of innovation, hard lessons, and relentless pursuit of perfection in the skies. For over a decade, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner stood as a symbol of that achievement, representing the cutting edge of commercial aviation technology and reliability. With millions of passengers flown safely across continents and no fatal accidents, the 787 was considered one of the safest airliners ever built, earning the trust of airlines and travelers worldwide. That changed on June 12, 2024, when Air India Flight 171 crashed in Ahmedabad, India, marking the first fatal loss of a Dreamliner and ending an era of unbroken safety. The news sent shockwaves through the aviation world, shattering the aircraft's spotless reputation and raising urgent questions about what went wrong. Suddenly, the 787's design, procedures, and safety record were under intense scrutiny, as experts and the public alike demanded answers. The world was reminded that even the most advanced technology is not immune to disaster, and that every flight carries inherent risks. Investigators and manufacturers now faced a critical task: to understand what went wrong, to learn from tragedy, and to ensure it never happens again. The findings from this crash will shape training, design, and regulations for years to come, influencing how future aircraft are built and operated. 1 year later, India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has released initial findings, offering a glimpse into the flight's final moments and the complex chain of events that led to disaster. This video will explore what happened, focusing on the sequence of events, the role of the engine fuel control switches, and the systems that tried to save the aircraft from catastrophe. We'll also look at what's been ruled out, the response from authorities, and the challenges of communication in this high-stakes investigation, where every detail matters. The story of Air India 171 is a sobering reminder of the vigilance, transparency, and constant improvement required to keep our skies safe for everyone. June 12, 2024, began as a routine day at Ahmedabad's bustling airport, with travelers and staff going about their usual morning activities. Air India Flight 171, a modern Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, was preparing for its scheduled journey to London. On board were 242 people, including passengers and crew, all anticipating a safe and uneventful flight. Pre-flight checks were completed without issue, and weather conditions were reported as clear and favorable for flying. The crew followed standard procedures, ensuring everything was in order. The aircraft lifted off smoothly from the runway, climbing steadily into the morning sky, but just 32 seconds after takeoff, disaster struck without warning. Suddenly the plane began an uncommanded sharp roll to the left, losing altitude at an alarming rate. The situation escalated rapidly, leaving little time for corrective action. Data suggests a sudden and catastrophic loss of power from at least one engine, creating a severe thrust imbalance that made the aircraft nearly impossible to control. At such a low altitude, the pilots had almost no time or space to recover from the emergency, despite their training and experience. The aircraft crashed into a hostel at BJ Medical College, causing a massive explosion and a raging fire that quickly engulfed the building and the plane. The crash site, located dangerously close to the runway, became a scene of utter devastation for both those on board and people on the ground, with debris scattered across the area. The dream of a safe journey ended in tragedy within moments of takeoff, leaving families and the community in shock and mourning. The location of the crash amplified the disaster, claiming innocent lives in the hostel as well as those on the plane, and leaving many injured. Emergency services faced a complex, dangerous scene as they searched for survivors amid the wreckage, working tirelessly through the chaos and destruction to help those in need. The human toll of the Air India 171 crash was immense, leaving a deep wound in the hearts of countless families and communities. Of the 242 people on board, only one survived, a miraculous exception amid overwhelming loss. The scale of devastation was almost unimaginable, with so many lives cut short in an instant. The victims included business travelers, families on holiday, students with bright futures, and dedicated crew members who served with pride. The crash's location in a busy city center meant 19 more lives were lost in the BJ Medical College hostel, turning a place of learning into a scene of tragedy. In total, 260 people perished, making it one of India's deadliest air disasters and leaving a legacy of sorrow that endures to this day. Each number represents a story, a parent, a child, a friend, a colleague, each with dreams, hopes, and loved ones left behind. Families face the agony of sudden loss and the painful process of identifying loved ones, their lives forever changed in a single moment. Vigils and memorials were held across India and the UK, uniting communities in grief and remembrance as people came together to honor those lost. The lone survivor's journey is both a story of hope and a reminder of the tragedy's scale, inspiring many while also highlighting the fragility of life. Their recovery will be long, shadowed by the memory of those lost, and marked by the challenge of moving forward after such unimaginable trauma. The crash left a permanent scar, underscoring the responsibility of everyone in aviation to ensure such tragedies are never repeated. Behind every statistic is a life, and the loss is felt far beyond the numbers, echoing through families, communities, and generations to come. Investigators quickly focused on the engine fuel control switches in the cockpit, two small but vital levers. In the run position, they allow fuel to flow. In cutoff, they shut down the engine. Data from the flight recorders showed a sudden power loss consistent with an engine shutdown just after takeoff. Investigators are probing whether one or both switches were moved to cutoff, causing asymmetric thrust and loss of control. These switches are protected by guards and locks, making accidental activation unlikely. The investigation is considering all scenarios: crew error, inadvertent movement, or intentional action. The cockpit voice recorder is key to understanding what happened in those critical seconds. Synchronizing voice and data recordings will help reconstruct the timeline and human factors involved. The focus remains on how and why the switches were moved, as this holds the answer to the tragedy. Ruling out possible causes is crucial in any crash investigation. The AAIB's preliminary report found no evidence of mechanical or design faults in the 787 or its engines. The aircraft and engines were functioning as designed before the incident. Fuel contamination was also ruled out. Tests showed the fuel met all specifications. Flap mismanagement was dismissed. The flight data confirmed the flaps were correctly set for takeoff. With mechanical faults, fuel issues, and flap errors eliminated, investigators have zeroed in on the manual shutdown of an engine via the fuel control switches. The focus is now on operational or human factors in the cockpit. This process of elimination is narrowing the search for answers. The Boeing 787's fly-by-wire system is designed to help pilots maintain control in emergencies. After the engine shutdown, the system detected asymmetric thrust and tried to compensate, commanding the rudder and ailerons to keep the plane level. For a few moments, the computers and pilots fought to save the aircraft, but at low altitude the forces were too great to overcome. The engine shutdown also triggered the emergency power system, deploying the ram air turbine RAT to provide essential power. The RAT's activation confirmed the emergency systems worked as intended. However, the limited power and extreme thrust imbalance left little chance for recovery. The crew and systems had almost no time to react before impact. The tragedy highlights the limits of even the most advanced safety features. After a major crash, urgent safety warnings are issued if a design flaw is suspected. But following the Air India 171 crash, no such bulletins or directives were released by Boeing, GE, or global regulators. This silence suggests investigators found no evidence of a fleet-wide defect. Inspections of other 787s revealed no similar issues. The absence of warnings reassures airlines but deepens the mystery of what happened in Ahmedabad. The focus has shifted to the human element and cockpit actions. The final report will be critical in revealing what led to the engine shutdown. The industry waits for answers to prevent a repeat of this tragedy. The investigation into Air India 171 continues, with the AAIB leading and international experts assisting. Every detail from the flight recorders and wreckage is being analyzed to reconstruct the event. Communication challenges have fueled speculation and anxiety, especially among victims' families. Clear, timely updates are essential to maintain public trust in the process. The central question remains: what caused the movement of the engine fuel control switches? The final conclusions will impact pilot training, cockpit design, and airline procedures worldwide. The crash ended the 787's perfect safety record, and underscored the complex relationship between humans and technology. Lessons from those 32 seconds will shape aviation safety for years to come. The legacy of Flight 171 will be measured by the improvements that follow, honoring the 260 lives lost.